The ego is not our friend. Our egotistic mind and the ego state of mind is not your friend. The ego is classified by by fears. It's classified by control, approval, validation. It's classified by trying to understand your identity. And it's classified in a sense of not understanding or trying to be in a certain group. Your ego does not operate it operates more like on a prideful and insecurity state. And when you become very higher conscious, you are not operating from that state. When you become spiritually conscious, meaning that you're operating from a higher level, which means in the metaphysical world, the fourth or fifth dimensional is more of a spiritual, metaphysical state of mind. And you are not operating in a perpetual reality. When you are operating in the ego state of mind, remember that the ego does not want you to grow. It does not. And when you start understanding the difference between the two, then you will understand how ascended you are. Not everybody have ascended, obviously. Not everybody, depending on where you are, will get to that level. But I think that it's needed for the soul. So when you are in a more of a fifth dimensional state of consciousness, you are under a conceptual thinking process. What you see in this 3D reality is not real. And when you are operating at a higher state of consciousness, you are operating from your true authentic self, meaning that you are understanding the truth of who you are, your life purpose. You are in a very duality of attracting the level of peace and joy and love that brings into your life. Myself, I'm very spiritual. I understand the parallel difference between the ego state of mind and the reality of who I am in a very enlightened and higher consciousness state. I remember back in 2019 is when my shift began, and it really allowed me to have a different thought process. And I wouldn't change it for the world. Not everybody has gotten to this state, and it takes sometimes it can take different situations to happen in order for you to ascend in that state of mind. But we all know that what you see, that most humans are operating in a human state of mind. When you become more higher consciousness, you're operating in a spiritual state of mind, more of a higher consciousness state of mind. And that opened so many channels. And to your mind, you become more higher intelligent. You think in a different perspective. You understand that everything in this world is not exactly what it looks like. But you know that in a different realm, that's where you are becoming. And although most humans are operating in a very ego state of mind. The true purpose and the true meaning of fulfilling life is overcoming that egotistic mindset and going into more of a shifting your mind into a higher consciousness state. Finding the deeper meaning of your value and who you are, and disconnecting from the outer experience. The outer experience of trying to control the circumstances, the outer experience of trying to control other people, not understanding that you don't need to be validated or be seen. I remember when I was shifting and, more of in a higher, you know, um, in a higher dimension, my mind was just, everything around me, my reality was just shifting differently. I didn't see my life the way it was before. And I started disconnecting from my old self to this new profound person, or this new profound spiritual being that that metaphysically started just operating from. Like my state of mind and the way I viewed everything. I started questioning myself. I started questioning my reality. I started questioning who I was, where I came from, why I'm here. What do I need to do to attract, to become the enlightened person that I was ordained to become. All of that started really, like, I started thinking a lot, and I understand that one of the main things that really hit me the most is when I was like trying to get, as I was shifting from my old reality, or the ego state where I was in before. Every time I would try to go back to that, I could not, because metaphysically, spiritually, and on a very, subconscious level, I couldn't. It was hard, because I knew, like, even when I was going back to that on this, like, in that state of mind, it was hard for me to even process, because now I'm on a different level mentally. And when we going back to that state of mind that I was in, it didn't feel right, because I'm now aware of everything around me. When you become very, very higher spiritually conscious, you even question the people around you. And people will look at you differently. People will look at you. I mean, I'm talking about people will not understand it. But it's not for them to understand. So understand that disconnecting from societal or society roles and shifting the mindset of becoming who you are in a spiritual realm will allow you to channel so many different parts of yourself. And it's a good feeling. Like, it's not for everybody, and if you, like, everybody is not going to understand that, like, and that's not for everybody to understand. Like, that's nothing wrong with that. No one, like, for myself, I wanted to expand my sense of awareness. I started shifting my perception. So I started becoming more intuitive. I understand that there was no limitations in my life. Like, I knew that once I became more spiritually conscious, and which allowed me to want to, live in my purpose and my true identity, live in my true authenticity, and not allow the old reality of who I was before to come back, because that person was long and gone. And so when you understand that you have a sense of purpose. You have a sense of purpose. This world needs to operate on a personal level, meaning that the level of respect that you get within yourself when you become who you are and understand who you are as a spiritual being, you would not, your view on life and people and will shift dramatically. Like you don't even, it's I wouldn't even say it's scary, because once you ascend and once you start really or going through your ascending stage or phase, right, in your life, you really, that light that comes upon you feels so organic that nothing or no one can touch that. Like I would not change the things that I went through, even though it was a little confusing for me and it was a little bit, I didn't, on a deeper level, I had to really understand what it was, but I wouldn't change it for nothing, because now mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically, I understand why I needed to go through that and why I went through that. And now that I did go through that, I don't have to feel like I don't have to feel validated. I don't have to feel like I have to explain who I am anymore. And I hope whoever is listening to this understand that your state of consciousness has everything to do with who you are right now. Once you find yourself, you will understand your life trueality of purpose. And that will bring you peace. It will bring you clarity. It will bring you love. It will bring you truth. But you have to let go of the ego. And deep meditation will help with that. I'm telling you, I remember like one time I meditated for like an hour, and this one I was going through like my spiritual shift I was going through it really, really hard, like back in like 2020, 2022. And I was like, OMG, like what is going on? But I will get into that a little bit more later. But I want you all to know that the ego state of mind is part of the lower vibration of what is expected in life. But once you ascend on a more fifth dimensional state of mind, that consciousness of enlightenment will connect to you and have your reality feeling more authentic on a soul level. And that's that. Consciously aware, but understand subconsciously that you are here for a reason, and your reason is to find who you are. This is Her Soul Heals, and I am Shia, and I hope you enjoy. Bye.